So if you had any issues through the course of the year and you wanted to complete or fix up an assignment, then what I would do is make an appointment to come in here next week if you want. Even if you just want to say hi and get out of your house and look at it, then that's something I would look at doing for sure. But yeah, so I basically got everything. I'm going to try and maybe get one more. I'll mark this assignment from chapter 1. I'll try and get assignment for chapter 2 to you maybe tomorrow, just so that you have one more chance. So that basically, since this all started, I'm just going to have a look here. Since this all started, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically 8 assignments, which is phenomenal. All right, we've done real well in this class to get to where we're at. So if you're unsure or you want to ask about how it's been going, come on in next week and I'll give you the what for, like where you're at and everything. If you're concerned, I don't know what the marks are going to look like. That's going to be a little bit subjective as we go through. Other than that, any questions or comments or concerns about what's going on now? No? Okay. All right. So
are we still having class like every day in the morning?
Well, like I said this a few weeks ago when Amron asked if we could back off. I'm basically on here just so you have somebody to ask if you need anything. I'm not saying that you ever have to be on here. I'm gonna go, like I think I'll go up until the 9th. I think we should at least go till the 9th or 10th, where we're going still every day. And then if you have questions after that, I don't know if we need to go after the 10th. I mean, that's going to be up to you guys. If you want to keep going, the longer you do the review, the more chances you have to fix up things that you didn't do well the first time around. So that'll be up to you guys. And I'm willing to go until the end of next week, which would be about today's the 1st, 5th, 10th, 12th. Like I would probably stay on here till about the 12th, just so that you can fix some things up as we go. But to answer your question, I mean, there's nothing saying you have to be on here every day. It's just I like to be on here. It's a good routine for me, and it gives you an opportunity to ask if you need help. Any other concerns at all? Questions?
Is the 9th going to be the last possible date for us to hand in assignments?
No.
Or is there going to be another due date for that?
17th.
Yeah,
17 is the day that we are supposed to accept assignments up till the 17th. But we're not allowed to assign anything new. We're not allowed to assign anything new after the 9th. So,
okay, so it gives us time to catch up.
Yes.
If we're behind. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns? Okay. What I'd like to do right now, actually, I meant to do it on Friday and I completely forgot, is I'd like to go through your equations and inequalities assignment. So if you want to locate that, I'm going to go through it so you can have an idea as to where your marks were at with that assignment. Okay. So it's that Precalculus 30S equations and inequalities. So I'm going to go through that this morning. Go through each question with you, and then if at the end of that, if you have some questions from the second chapter or the assignment, then you can ask. Okay, so hopefully you can all see the board just fine. So maybe take a second and then I'll just give you a second to find that assignment, because this is the one way that you'll be able to mark it. All right. So first question, what is the solution of the following? And they give us two parabolas. So basically, Graphing, one way to do that, obviously. Okay, if you graph those two equations, you would see that they intersect at 2 points. The one thing I do want to talk about at some point today is when we need just x values and when we need x and y coordinates. And this to me would be one that I would, it's not written very well because it should have the coordinates where they intersect. And the reason you need the coordinates is because you have the y's here. So you're looking for not just where they cross at the x's, but what the actual coordinate is where they cross or they touch each other. So on that first question, d is equal to x equals -4 and x equals 0. Okay. Question 2, and again, I'm going to go fairly quickly, so slow me down if you need anything. Okay. Number 2.
Well, good morning. Excuse me. If teachers have a list of students they intend to have come and visit them today, what we need you to do is to call the office and let Michelle know so we have a master list here, because they have to check in at the front office no matter where they go. So again, teachers who have a schedule planned today of kids coming in, please call the office. That'll be the way it'll be until further notice. Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Okay. So student determines that one solution in the system of quadratic equations is 2 and 1. What is the value of n if the equations are as follows? Okay, so what I do is I substitute in, if 2 and 1 are the parts of the solution, then I substitute them into the equation. So I'll make this equation A, this equation B. So in equation A, I go 4 times 2 squared, subtract m times 1 equals 10. So that's 4 times 4, which is 16. 16 subtract m equals 10. Negative m is equal to -6. Talking to the board again. So 2 squared is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 minus m equals that. Therefore, m is equal to 6. So in the second equation in B, I have m, which is 6. I have x squared, which is 2 squared, plus n times 1 equals 20. So 2 squared is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 plus n equals 20. N is equal to -4. So really all we're doing in this question is just substituting. Substitute into the value for the values of x and y, and then solve to get n. So the correct answer for n was -4. Question 3a gives us two equations. First one is y equals x squared minus 4x plus 1. The second one is y equals -1/2 x minus 2 squared plus 3. So because they're both y equals, I'm going to let the two equations equal each other. All right. So x squared minus 4x plus 1 is equal to -1/2 x minus 2 squared add 3. Now, I'm not a big fan of working with fractions if I can get away with not working with fractions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything here by -2. Because when I multiply -1/2 by -2, that gives me 1. So I'm going to multiply everything by -2. Okay, the other thing I did is I expanded x minus 2 squared. So I end up with this. All right, x squared minus 4x, add 4, subtract 6. So now I've got minus 2x squared plus 8x minus 2 equals x squared minus 4x minus 2. Okay? Get everything to one side. So add 2x, that gives me 3x squared. Subtract 8x is minus 12x. Add 2 is 0. So I'm left with 0 is equal to 3x squared minus 12x. One way to do it is to factor out 3x. Therefore, x would equal 0 and 4. All right? And again, like I said, because I have the y's as a part of this, I also need to find out what the coordinate is. So I'm going to substitute that into my equation A. So I've got y is equal to x squared, which is 0 squared, minus 4 times 0, add 1. Y is equal to 1. So my first coordinate is 0 and 1. My second coordinate is 4 and also 1. 16 subtract 16 is 0, 0 add 1 is 1. Now, if you think about what a parabola looks like, the two intersection points need to be on the same plane, meaning that the y should be the same value for both these x's here. So my solution for that first one is 0 and 1 and 4 and 1. We okay? For B, I have y equals 7x minus 11, and then 5x squared minus 3x minus y equals 6. And again, what I should have encouraged you to do, or have been encouraging you to do, is graph them to check your solutions. Okay, once you're done, check those solutions using graphing. Okay, so this second one here, I'm going to go 5x squared minus 3x minus, and I'm going to use the substitution method for this one because I already have y by itself in the top. So I go 7x minus 11 equals 6. So I took that top equation, y equals 7x minus 11, and I substituted it in for y in the second equation. Simplify it. Okay, by simplifying it, minus 3x minus 7x is minus 10x. I subtracted 6 to this side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 5. So I have that. And then I get x minus 1 times x minus 1 equals 0. X is equal to 1. Then I use my equation, my 7x minus 11 equation. So that's 7 subtract 11, which is negative 4. And there's my solution. So in other words, I have a line that is touching the quadratic at x equaling 1 and negative 4. Okay, so far? All right, this next question is the one that probably, if there was any that caused some grief for most people, it was this one. So it says the perimeter of the rectangle is 8y meters. So my perimeter is equal to 8y, and my area is equal to 6y add 3. Like that. Now it gives us the length is x plus 8 and the width is x plus 6. So write two equations in terms of x and y, one for perimeter and one for the area of the rectangle. All right, so for the perimeter, I know the total is 8y. So 8y is equal to 2 times x plus 8 plus 2 times x plus 6. Okay, so I'm going to somewhat simplify this. So I end up with 8y equals 2x plus 16 and 2x plus 12. I have 8y equals 4x plus 28. Y is equal to 1/2 x plus 7 over 2. Okay, so 28 over 8 is 7 over 2. Okay, so there's equation 1. This is for the perimeter of it. The area of it is 6y plus 3 equals x plus 8 times x plus 6. So I have 6y plus 3 equals x squared plus 14x. Add 48. Subtract 3. Okay. And I could divide here by 6. So it's not really a very pretty quadratic equation, but this is what I would have right here. All right. So then it says determine the perimeter and the area of each. So now we have to solve it. So we need to find out, first of all, what my x value is, and then I'm going to find out what my y value is. Now, if I go back to here, and I start right here, this being A, and this part being B. Okay, so I'm going to have equation 1. Where am I? X squared plus 14x add 48. All right, so equation 1 and equation 2. So I'm going to leave that other one. So I don't want the 1/6. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to substitute this in for y right here. So that's 6 times 1/2 x add 7 over 2 equals x squared plus 14x add 48. So I get 3x plus 6, 42, 21 is equal to x squared plus 14x add 48. So what I did is I multiplied 6 through the brackets. 6 times 1/2 is 3. 6 times 7 over 2 is 21. All right. And then 0 equals x squared plus 11x plus 27, I think. Oh, 20. I've got a mistake here.
Are we missing a plus 3 with the 6y on the left?
Sorry, this is a 45 right here. No, not yet. This is 45. I knew I made an error here. Sorry. So that makes this 24. Sorry about that. So there. Now it becomes factorable. All right. I just wrote that wrong there. Okay. So now I've got 0 is equal to x plus 8. X plus 3. X is equal to -8 and -3. And it can't be -8 because if you put it in for x plus 6, you get a negative length. So it can't be that. So x is equal to -3. So if x is equal to -3, that means then that my length is x plus 8, which is negative 3 plus 8, which is equal to 5. So that means my length is 5, my width is 3. So the perimeter is 10 plus 6, which is 16 meters, and the area is 15 meters squared. Okay? All right, so a fair bit of work went into both of that. This is 2 pages worth of work here. All right? I showed you every step that you probably needed to get or to do in order to get the full marks on this. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay? Number 5 was pretty straightforward, but it did have one trick to it that you had to remember. So I wanted it in the form as y equals. So first thing I do is subtract 3x. And then I have to divide by negative 6. But anytime I multiply or divide by a negative number, that inequality has to change. So it looks like this. Y is greater than 1/2 x subtract 2. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you a different way to do this question so that you understand why the negative has to move. If I did this same thing again here, so I've got 3x minus 6y is less than 12. And let's say I added 6y to the other side. I would get 3x less than 6y add 12. Then I would subtract 12. And then divide by 6. And you notice that because I added it to this side, it's still y is the greater than part of this. The mouth opens to the bigger one always, greater than. So I end up, either way, you're going to end up with that sign changing and it being y is greater than 1/2 x minus 2. All right. Okay. Question 7. It's looking for the equation. Okay. So they're all the equations are the same. They all are y negative x. Of course, my vertex is negative 2 and 1. So now I have to decide. Okay. First of all, is it a greater than or equal to or a less than or equal to or greater than or less than? Okay. First things first, it's a solid line. So that now narrows it down to B or C because it's got to be an equals to. So now what I do is I have to check a coordinate. So I pick any coordinate on there and then I try and find out what my sign is going to be based on the coordinate. So I'm going to use the coordinate negative 2 and 0. That fits right directly into the shaded region. So I'm going to put a 0 in for here and a negative 2 in here. So this is 0. This is 0 squared, 0. This is 1. All right. So I've got a 0 on the left side and I've got a 1 on the right side. That means then that big mouth has to open to the right side. So this equation then becomes y is less than or equal to negative x plus 2 squared add 1. Now the other alternative for you would be to graph them both. Graph them both on your calculator and see which way you get the shaded region to work for you. Okay? Question 9. Notice there's no 8. Question 9. 12x squared. $12x squared is less than 7x, add 10. And it wants us to solve for it. So what we need to do is we need to use the number line. This is one where we don't have the y, so it's not an actual parabola. We're just trying to find out which area we shave based on a number line. So the first thing I do is I put an equals to in here. So I get 12x squared equals to 7x, add 10. 12x squared minus 7x minus 10 is equal to 0. When I factor it, this was not an easy one to factor for the record. I got 4x subtract 5 and 3x add 2. Therefore, x was equal to 5 over 4 and negative 2 over 3. Okay, draw my number line out. 5/4 minus 2/3. I know 0's in the middle here. Okay, so I need 1 over here. That would be 2. 1 over here might be negative 1. So we got to check them all. I'm going to always start with 0 because it's the fastest way to do it. So I've got a 0 on the left. 0 and 10 make 10. 10 is greater than 0. Therefore, check mark in here. Okay, I'm going to put a 2 in there. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 12 is 48. So the left side's 48. 2 times 7 is 14. 14 and 10 make 24. 24 is not greater than 48. So I have that. A negative 1 in here. That leaves 12 on this side. 7 times negative 1 is negative 7. Negative 7 and 10 make 3. 3 is not greater than that. So I've simply marked off where it was going to work and where it isn't. So the solution for this, x such that, again, no equals to, we have to make a note of that, minus 2/3 is less than x is less than 5 over 4. X is an element of all reals. There's my solution for the question. So it falls somewhere in between minus 2/3 and 5 over 4. Okay, so when you're looking at solutions for questions in which the y's aren't given to you, they're generally going to be something that looks like this, or it'll be x is less than something and x is greater than something, depending on what the where the shaded region would fall. Okay. Question 10 just asked you to graph y is greater than, so y is greater than x minus 5, add 4, okay? If I put an equals to in here, my vertex, it's 5 and 4. Right there. So I'm going to put a 6 in there. 6 subtract 5. Oh, this should be squared, right? Yeah. Okay, so 6 subtract 5 is 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. So the next dot is right here. The next dot is right here. That's all I need. Those 3 dots. I could go one more. I could go 3 and 7, which would give you one up here and one up here. All right. Graph it by a dotted line. Like that. There's our dotted line. Pick a coordinate somewhere in here. Right? Probably going to pick 5 and 5. So I put a 5 in here, 5 subtract 5 is 0. 0 squared is 0. 0 add 4 is 4. 5 is greater than 4. And there's my quick solution. All right, there's not much to graphing the parabola here. If you remember how to do it with the vertex, especially when it's given in vertex form, it's pretty straightforward. Okay? And the last question was, Malik sells his artwork for different prices depending on the type of work. Pen and ink sketches sell for $50 and watercolors sell for $80. Malik needs an income of at least $1,200 per month. Write an inequality to model this situation. Okay, so in applied, I would tell you, okay, write your defining statement, write your constraints, write your restrictions, and then write out your optimizing equation. But this is just a pretty straightforward question. It says he needs at least $1,200. So to find his income, you sell the number of ink sketches times 50, and the number of watercolors times 80, and together they're going to be greater than 1,200. So 50x plus 80y, and if it's at least, that means that they have to be greater than that value. Whatever this value is, in this case, it's 1,200. All right. Okay, so now mark off. I'm going to mark off 0 and 15. I'm going to mark off 25 and 0 down here. Okay, so I use my intercepts. I put 0 in for x, solve for y, put 0 in for y, solve for x. I get my line. It's a solid line because if it at least means it can equal 1,200, and then put a coordinate in here, any coordinate you want. If you put 0 and 0 in here, 0 is not greater than 1,200, so I know it's not, so it's up here. Now, I could have been fussy, all right, because we can't sell parts of a painting, all right, or parts of an ink sketch or parts of a watercolor. So realistically, if I was to be real fussy, because I only made it for 2 marks just to see this, but if it was a 4-mark question, I would say, okay, defining statement, X is sketches, Y is watercolors. Your constraints are X is an element of whole numbers, Y is an element of whole numbers, and then your restrictions would be that equation. All right, so I would have dots in here, okay, but because it was only worth 2 marks and it was an assignment, I didn't want to put that in today, or for this assignment last week. Okay, so that's that entire assignment. Are there any questions about it? Any concerns, comments? All good? Okay, so what I'd like to know now, I know most of you put more work into the assignment that was due more or less today or tomorrow. I can't remember what day we put it to, but is there anybody that's come on late here that has any questions from chapter 1 or 2? I mean, you can go back into chapter 1 and ask questions that are similar to your assignment, and I would give you, I would show you how to do those, but it's up to you. Any questions from chapter 1 or chapter 2 today? Okay, so what I'd like to see is if you can get to the end of chapter 2 for tomorrow, I can either go through chapter 3 with you, or I can give you the assignment for chapter 2 that would help, or I can do both. So you guys think about it. I said way back that I wouldn't teach too much on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but it's completely up to you. we're now on a bit of a timeline, so whatever you need, I'm here for you to help out. Any last minute questions or concerns today? Okay, so get your chapter 1 review assignment in, complete chapter 2, and then tomorrow we'll pick it up from there. All right, everybody have a great day. I'll talk to you all tomorrow morning.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.